Welcome back to the Old Photo Vault channel. A viral photo showing a shadowy figure peeking from behind the sofa in a quiet living room. Unknown location, 1990s. This image has spread widely across social networks, stirring unease with its chilling detail in the lower left corner, where a face-like demon seems to emerge. No one truly knows how the picture surfaced or who first released it, adding to the mystery that clings to its edges. The soft daylight and ordinary furnishings only make the hidden presence feel more unsettling, as if something sinister is watching from the shadows. Many wonder whether it's a real apparition or just a cleverly crafted illusion meant to play with the mind. In the end, the uncertainty is what sends the deepest shiver, leaving the viewer to decide what they believe. A construction site cemetery in Seto City, Aichi Prefecture, where a faint upper body seems to hover above a tombstone. Japan, September 1985. This photograph was taken by Mr. Mizuno during nearby construction work, at a time when part of the area to the left had once belonged to the graveyard on the right. At first glance, the image appears unsettling. A pale form resembling the upper body and face of someone floating right above a stone marker. Many believed it might be the unrest of a disturbed spirit, angered that its resting place had been altered. The idea felt chilling, especially given the site's history and the timing of the reconstruction. But later examination suggested a simpler explanation. The shape's color and texture match the surrounding tombstone so closely that it may only be an illusion created by overlapping shadows and stone. Even so, the eerie impression it leaves is difficult to forget. A grainy, time-worn photograph where I unknowingly captured a shadowy figure emerging from the forest brush. Unknown location, early 20th century. When I first developed this photo, I thought the strange streaks and scratches were just damage from age, nothing more. But as the image slowly came into focus, a human shape began to take form. A dark, half-lit figure crouched among the leaves as if watching me. The longer I stared, the heavier the air around me felt, as though the memory of that moment was trying to press itself back into my chest. Something about the posture, the blurred edges, made it seem less like a person and more like an echo caught between worlds. I remember the forest being unusually still that day, almost unnaturally quiet, as if the trees were holding their breath. Even now, this photograph feels alive in a way it shouldn't. Like whatever was there found its way onto the film and refused to fade. A rainy forest clearing where my camera caught a tall, hooded shape standing motionless among the trees. Unknown woods, early 21st century. I remember the rain drifting in thin sheets that day, the kind that blurs the world into soft shadows and shapes that don't stay still. I lifted my camera toward the tree line, thinking I was only capturing the mist settling between the trunks. But when I looked at the photo later, a figure emerged. A towering, hooded form pressed against the bark, its outline too deliberate to be a trick of the weather. The more I stared, the heavier the air in my memory seemed to grow, as though something had been standing there in absolute silence, watching from beneath that shrouded fold. The forest suddenly felt older in my mind, full of secrets hidden behind rain and leaves. Even now, that cloaked shape lingers in the back of my thoughts, like a presence that stepped forward just long enough to be seen once. A blurry, shadow-like figure lurking beneath a bridge during a river rescue scene. Malaysia, 2000s. A pale, ghost-like figure emerging from a tangle of branches that my camera captured without me realizing. Unknown location, early 20th century. I remember wandering through that thicket, the branches crackling softly under my feet, the air strangely cold despite the stillness around me. When I raised my camera, I thought I was only photographing the dense weave of limbs and shadows. But when the film developed, a face surfaced, white, hollow-eyed, and impossibly serene, resting in the heart of the brush as though it had been waiting there all along. The figure's hands appeared faintly, folded over something I couldn't quite make out, as if held in some long-forgotten ritual. The image unsettled me in a way I can't fully explain, as though I had accidentally stepped into a place where the living weren't meant to linger. Even now, looking at it, I feel the same quiet dread creeping back through the trees. A nighttime trail cam shot where a strange, faint, human-like figure appeared behind a buck. Unknown Woods, 2010. The camera was only meant to capture wildlife, and that night seemed no different. Just a massive buck wandering through the tall grass, its antlers glowing white in the infrared flash. But when I checked the footage later, my eyes locked onto something standing deeper in the dark. A pale, thin figure shaped like a person, motionless and half-lit, as if it had stepped forward just long enough to be seen. The longer I looked, the colder the scene began to feel, as though the woods themselves were holding their breath around that silent shape. It didn't match the deer, didn't resemble any animal, and seemed strangely unaffected by the flash. Even now, the stillness of that moment lingers with me, an uneasy reminder that the nighttime forest sometimes reveals more than we expect. An old garden monument where my photograph revealed a cloaked figure seated in eerie stillness, with a faint, misty form drifting beside it. Unknown location, early 20th century. I remember the quiet of that garden, the kind that settles deep in your ears until even your own breath feels too loud. I thought I was simply capturing the stone monument wrapped in its heavy draped cloak, a solemn shape resting beneath the trees. But when the photo developed, something else appeared, an ethereal blur rising beside the figure, soft and pale like it was trying to take form. The more I studied it, the more the scene shifted in my memory, as though the statue's stillness wasn't entirely lifeless. There was a presence in that moment, subtle yet undeniable, as if the air itself had paused to watch from just beyond the veil. Even now, the image carries a quiet weight, like a whisper from a time that never fully let go. A dim, mist-soaked cemetery, where I unknowingly captured a pale figure rising among the gravestones. Unknown location, 20th century. When I first took this photo, I didn't notice anything unusual, just the quiet hush of evening settling over the cemetery. But later, as I looked again, I felt my stomach drop. A faint, human-shaped figure stood between the stones, exactly where no one should have been. The more I stared, the colder the air around me seemed to feel, as if the moment itself was breathing against my neck. I remember how the wind had suddenly died, how the trees seemed to lean in closer, listening. It was the kind of silence that doesn't feel empty, but occupied, as though something unseen had stepped into the frame beside me. Even now, I can't shake the feeling that this figure wasn't a trick of the light at all, but something that wanted to be noticed. What do you think? Did I really capture a ghost wandering among the graves? A crumbling stone tower where I accidentally photographed a mysterious figure standing behind the old iron bars. Unknown castle, 20th century. I was just taking pictures of the ruins, trying to capture the worn stone and fading history, when something strange appeared in one of the upper windows. Later, as I zoomed in, my breath caught. There was clearly a figure behind the bars, someone I swear wasn't there when I looked up. The face seemed pale, almost blurred by time, as if it belonged to another century entirely. In that moment, a chill ran through me, the kind that sinks slowly into your bones like an old secret. I keep replaying the scene, remembering how silent the castle felt, how the air seemed heavier than it should have been. It's almost as if whatever was up there had been waiting to be seen, trapped between the stones and the years. What do you think? Did I capture a real ghost staring out from its ancient prison? A quiet motel room where I accidentally captured a pale, ghostly face forming in a beam of light on the wall. Unknown location, 21st century. I was lying on the bed when I noticed the strange shaft of light cutting through the room. So I snapped a photo without thinking much of it. Later, when I looked again, my heart nearly stopped. There was a face in the beam, old and hollow-eyed, staring straight toward the bed. I swear I didn't see anything there in person. Yet the photo shows it as clear as a memory you wish you could forget. The room suddenly felt colder, like the air had shifted the moment that face appeared, carrying something with it. Even now, I can almost feel someone standing in that corner, watching patiently in the dark. I don't know if it's a trick of the light or something that wanted to be seen just once. What do you think? Did I really capture a ghost inside that room? A dim woodland path where I unexpectedly captured glowing orbs drifting along the trail. Unknown location, late 20th century. I remember the air being strangely still when I took this photo. The kind of quiet that feels almost too heavy for a simple forest path. Only later did I notice the soft, floating lights. 3 pale orbs hovering as if they were moving with purpose. The moment I saw them, something in me tightened. A sudden chill running up my spine as though I had walked through an unseen presence. The trees seemed darker in my memory after that, as if they had been hiding something just beyond the edge of the frame. Even now, looking at the picture, I can still feel that eerie hush, like the forest was holding its breath the moment I pressed the shutter. A bustling street moment where I unknowingly captured a strange figure leaning from behind a post with no visible feet. Unknown city. Late 20th century. I remember focusing on the little girl in pink, laughing and full of life, never noticing anything unusual behind her. But when I looked at the photo later, my eyes froze on the figure leaning out from behind the post, a person-shaped form that seemed to hover instead of stand. The ground beneath them was clear, yet there were no feet, no shadow connecting them to the street. The more I stared, the more wrong it felt, as if the figure didn't belong to the moment I had lived through. Something about their posture, their silent presence, gave me a chill that settled deep and slow. It's eerie to think I walked right past them without seeing a thing, while the camera caught what my own eyes somehow missed. A security camera still where I unknowingly captured a cloaked figure stepping from an old doorway. Hampton Court, late 20th century. When I first looked at the footage, I thought it was just another quiet night. An empty courtyard, nothing out of the ordinary. But then the door swung open on its own, and a tall, heavy figure appeared, cloaked as if from another century. The image froze me in place. I remember the feeling of the air shifting, cold and sudden, as though someone unseen had just passed by. The figure's posture looked purposeful, almost protective, like it was guarding the doorway rather than simply walking through it. Everything about the scene felt wrong. The stillness, the timing, the way the door slammed shut moments later. Even now, that grainy silhouette lingers in my mind, like a piece of history refusing to stay buried. A cold, brick-arched bunker where I accidentally captured a glowing streak of light and a shadowy figure lingering in the doorway. Unknown location, 20th century. I remember stepping into this place and feeling the air shift instantly, heavy and stale, like the room had been holding its breath for decades. When I took the photo, I thought the flash had just reflected off something. But later, I saw that strange ribbon of light twisting through the air, too smooth and too deliberate to be an accident. Then my eyes settled on the figure standing in the back doorway, half-lit, barely visible, yet unmistakably there. The longer I stared, the more the walls themselves seemed to lean inward, as if the bunker remembered things I wasn't meant to witness. Every object on the tables felt frozen in time, untouched and waiting, like a forgotten story trying to rise back into the present. Even now, that image carries a chill that sinks deeper each time I look at it. A quiet backyard at sunset, where my camera caught a strange, glowing form drifting near the shadowed house. Unknown location. Late 20th century. I remember the cold that evening, the way the last light of the sun stretched long across the snow. I lifted my camera to capture the silhouette of the house against the fading sky, nothing more. But when the picture developed, there it was. An amber shape hovering low to the ground, almost as if it were rising from the earth itself. Its glow didn't match the sunset, didn't belong to any reflection or lamp I can recall. Instead, it felt alive, like a presence edging into the frame just as the world slipped toward darkness. The stillness of that moment lingers with me, carrying a quiet unease that settles deeper each time I look back on it. A dim corner of an old house, where my photo captured a curling, pinkish spiral drifting beside the wall lamp. Unknown location. Late 20th century. I didn't notice anything unusual when I took the picture. Just the soft glow of the lamp against the red wall, quiet and still. But when the image came back, this strange little spiral was floating there, bright and twisting as if it had been caught mid-movement. It didn't look like dust, didn't feel like a reflection. It had a shape too deliberate, almost playful, yet unsettling in a way I couldn't quite explain. The more I stared at it, the more the room itself seemed to change in my memory, taking on that peculiar hush old houses get when something unseen passes through. Even now, that tiny ribbon of light feels like a whisper left behind, a trace of something that slipped into the frame before vanishing again. A sun-drenched backyard where my camera caught a warm, glowing shape drifting low along the fence line. Unknown suburb, late 20th century. I remember the quiet warmth of that evening, the sun sinking behind the trees and turning everything a deep, golden haze. I snapped the photo without thinking, just trying to capture the last light brushing over the yard. But when I looked at the picture later, there it was. An amber form floating near the fence, soft-edged yet strangely solid, like it was moving with a purpose of its own. The glow didn't feel like sunlight anymore. It felt like something stepping through the brightness, hidden in plain sight. Even now, that moment returns to me with an odd heaviness, as if the yard was holding a secret I only glimpsed for a single heartbeat. A nighttime cemetery scene where pale orbs drift across the darkness near a lone monument. Unknown location. Late 20th century orbs, those small glowing spheres of light, appear in countless photographs, and this image is no exception. Most of these floating dots show up when digital cameras struggle in extremely low light conditions, often caused by pixelation issues or missing color data rather than anything paranormal. After reviewing thousands of such photos, it's clear that these orbs are usually nothing more than artifacts from older digital cameras. When not digital in origin, they can easily be moisture droplets, rain, snow, dust, or even tiny insects catching the flash. The best safeguard is simple. Always use a second camera when shooting in low light and pay close attention to the weather conditions, as they can create illusions that look far stranger than they truly are. A daytime parking lot view interrupted by a dark, blurry shape running down the center of the frame. Unknown location. Late 20th century. This kind of shadowy obstruction happens when something gets too close to the camera lens, blocking part of the image and creating a dark patch with soft, fuzzy edges. Indoors or in low light, the same effect appears as a bright white smear when the flash hits the object. Many images labeled as vortexes, swirls, or spirits actually come from simple camera straps hanging loose instead of being secured around the photographer's neck. In this photo, the thickened shape near the bottom center clearly points to the strap's neck support section, It's a good reminder to keep fingers, straps, cords, and anything else well away from the lens before taking the shot. A dim interior scene disrupted by a bright, spiraling streak and a dark band crossing the frame. Unknown location. Late 20th century. This type of anomaly is one of the most common mistakes in photography. The camera strap slipping in front of the lens. When the camera is tilted vertically, the strap often swings forward and gets captured as a glowing white vortex or looping streak, complete with the serrated, knife-like edges seen here. Though these shapes look dramatic, they're entirely non-paranormal and always follow the same pattern. Preventing them is simple. Either remove the strap before shooting, pull it securely behind the camera, or keep it around your neck so it can't drift into view. A quiet suburban street where the same house appears twice due to a film overlap during processing. Unknown location. Late 20th century. This photograph shows one of the most common film camera errors: overlapping exposures during development or printing. When film isn't advanced properly, or when the lab misaligns the negatives, two separate frames can print on top of each other, creating ghost-like duplicates of buildings, people, or landscapes. In this image, the house appears twice, slightly shifted, giving the illusion of a transparent second structure fading across the first. Though eerie at first glance, the effect is purely mechanical, caused by the film being pulled through the camera or printer incorrectly. These overlaps were especially frequent with older cameras and home processing kits, producing accidental ghosts long before digital photography ever existed. An old television set where my photograph revealed a ghostly hand pressed against the screen. Unknown location. Mid-20th century. I remember the room being completely still when I snapped this picture. The TV switched off and reflecting nothing but the faint light from the window. Yet when the photo developed, a hand appeared, pale, blurred, and impossibly large, resting against the dark glass as though something inside was trying to reach out. The longer I stared at it, the colder the room seemed to feel, as if the air itself tightened around me. I can't recall seeing any reflection, any movement, anything at all that could have created that shape. It feels like a moment caught between worlds, a silent imprint of something that shouldn't have been there at all. As we close the final chapter of these eerie moments, one thing becomes clear. Some images fade, but the mysteries behind them linger long after the screen goes dark. If you felt a chill, a spark of curiosity, or a whisper of something unexplainable, then you're already part of the story. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to keep the exploration alive. And if you have your own strange photos or experiences, drop them in the comments. We'd love to uncover them with you. Stay curious, stay brave, and see you in the next journey into the unknown.